And digital energy file or a Bitcoin is a more efficient way to move energy. If our civilization ends, neither file is useful, right? The
Right.
Bitcoin is just a set of keys, and the digital music file is just an encrypted, set of stuff. But as long as the civilization continues, the metaphors are comparable. And of course, with digital music, you have digital music, digital maps. It works for all sorts of digital things. Digital communications, every one of them is an efficient way to transform analog to digital, speed everything up to the speed of light, move it friction free, and drive efficiencies. The significance of Bitcoin is we never figured out how to create digital property and digital money and digital energy. And in its highest form, the idea of digital energy is profound.
It sounds like in these examples that you're laying out, the frequency, if you will, of our Bitcoin is increasing. Can you talk a little bit? It feels like we're going to need to tap into the Lightning Network here to keep up with the increased frequency of Bitcoin and not have it be a low or low frequency type thing. Can you talk about how the Lightning Network might relate to this as well?
Yeah. I mean, frequency is so important. Coming back to this idea, low frequency Bitcoin is property. If you want to buy a house, you're comfortable with the transaction. You shop for a year, the transaction closes in 8 weeks, right? There's a fee, a transaction fee of 6%, right? Shuffling property is a slow and sometimes transaction intensive process, but you don't do it often. You buy a house once every 4 years or once every decade or something.
Yep.
So when I replace the house with Bitcoin and I buy Bitcoin worth a house, I can move that on the main blockchain and I can move it. It could take an hour. I mean, it takes an hour and maybe the transaction fee is $5. And when I'm using that layer one of Bitcoin, it's really ideal for the property use case. But when you want to get to money commercial frequency, then you don't want to take an hour and you don't want to pay $5 a transaction or $2 a transaction. And when you want to move to energy, the energy case where I might want to do 10,000 transactions an hour or a minute, right? Like I ask you, how many photons fall on your head when the light bulb is on when you're in the room? Think about the real rate of energy. You go to a party and I turn on the lights and I start playing music and think about the flow of energy there, right? We're not talking about 10 transactions an hour. We're talking about 10,000 transactions a minute or 10,000 a second even. So we need that high frequency. Whereas Bitcoin is an open protocol for moving digital property on the main chain or moving the core Bitcoin. Lightning is an open protocol, permissionless open protocol to move digital energy, basically move Bitcoin at the speed of light with no friction. Bitcoin is an open protocol that's permissionless to move Bitcoin at a slower speed with a little bit of friction. The primary goal of the Bitcoin protocol is to protect that digital energy for 100 years, right? What we're trying to do is we're preserving it as property in some kind of stasis, like a vacuum pack stasis for 100 years. And the goal of the Bitcoin blockchain or the Bitcoin protocol is I want to store it forever and keep it secure with integrity. The goal of the Lightning protocol is to allow you to move it super fast at the speed of light with no friction. And I'm going to achieve that by decreasing the amount of energy in the network or in the channel while I'm doing that. So Lightning is giving you the ability to apply conservation of energy in cyberspace at light speed. Bitcoin is basically, Lightning wouldn't exist without Bitcoin, right? So in essence, you've got two layers. You could even think of it as like two different types of energy. I'm transferring the energy from one form into another form